on again, and I will get everybody back from the waiting rooms. Federici?
Federici, IT coordinator, the live streaming is back on.
Thank you. And now we also have Joseph back. Thank you for presenting your application. Joseph, it is my greatest pleasure to announce you that you are now the EPSA president for the mandate 2021-2022. Now we can, yes, Joseph.
Yes, BSA Czech, if I may. I would like to thank you all for the votes. I'm sorry that I was waiting with the eye so long. I was writing to the waiting room by accident in Zoom. So yeah, thank you very much for your votes, and I'm looking forward to collaborate with all of you next year.
Thank you. You may now present yourself as Joseph, President-elect. We can proceed to the next part, election of the Vice President of Internal Affairs. PC has received one application, Karolina Wolnik, proposed by PPSA Poland, seconded by AFOP Austria. Do you want me to give you the link to the 3 minutes video? As asked before. Okay, perfect. Then I will now give the floor to PPSA Poland for the 1 minute speech. PPSA?
Thank you. Jana, PPSA Poland. Give me just a second. Dear General Assembly, PPSA has the great pleasure to propose Karolina Wolnik and support her application for Vice President of Internal Affairs. Karolina, as last year's LS, has brought EPSA closer to Polish students like no one before, thanks to her motivation and excellent communication. As a result of her work, you can see PPSA members in the EPSA team and participants of other EPSA projects. She fully dedicated her time to maintain good contact with EPSA alumni, which was fruitful in knowledge about EPSA, perfectly suited for the VPIA. As an attendee of many EPSA events, she proved that she's culturally aware and feels comfortable in the international environment, which makes her a proper candidate for this position. PPSA is confident about Karolina's skills and strongly believes that she will make an excellent work as VPIA in EPSA. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I give the floor to AFOP.
Alina, AFOP Austria. Dear General Assembly, AFOP is honored to second Karolina Wolnik in her application for Vice President of Internal Affairs. She is good at reaching out to people. She is making an effort to not only have contact with alumni, but also get to know her team members and students all over Europe. Furthermore, during her mandate as LS, she proved that maintaining good relationships with other associations is one of her priorities, as she has been bringing the pharmaceutical students closer to EPSA. As alumni coordinator, she ensured that the alumni were informed about EPSA's decision and that their point of view was taken into consideration. We believe that attending numerous EPSA events, team meetings, and her position as LS and alumni coordinator gave her the necessary insights into all EPSA activities and projects, as well as the structure and inner workings of the team. For all the above-mentioned reasons, we are confident that Karolina is perfectly suited for this position. Thank you.
Thank you. I now open the floor for questions. I have BPSA.
Dear EPSA United Kingdom, I would like to ask how would you tackle the issue of inactive LSs?
Carolina?
Carolina, PPSA Poland. So if I saw that LS would be inactive, I would try to reach out to them personally via email or less informal communication channels. I would see if there is a reason why they're inactive. Maybe they have been overwhelmed by what is going on in EPSA. And in that situation, I would try to keep them up to speed and explain what is going on. If there are problems within the association, I would try to help them in a way that won't be intrusive and still present them with possibilities where they can participate in EPSA's initiatives. And if it would be an issue where DLS would not be responsive, I would reach out to a different member of the association to see if maybe there is a different problem that I'm not aware of. And if all of that would fail, I would reach out to some of the people that might be closer to the association. So maybe a team member who is from that association or someone that I have known, or maybe a alumni from that association, to also try to find out what is the reason why they might be inactive and act accordingly to what is their situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I have Apef.
Luciana Apef, Portugal. Thank you for your application. How will you ensure that member associations will follow the deadlines established for the delivery of reports and credential forms? Thank you.
Carolina?
One big thing that has been done for EPSA before is to give a long possible deadline and remind the LSs and all the members association regularly about all the documents that we need. I would also work with the PC to make sure that everyone is well informed and everyone knows what we expect from them and what is needed. And if within 2 weeks before the deadline, we still would not receive all the important documentation that we need, I would reach out to them personally. And as I stated before, if DLS would not be active, I would reach out to someone else from the association and try to establish communication at any level. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I have KNPSD with their first new point.
Kati, KPC Netherlands. How do you feel like your past experiences, both LS and alumni coordinator, have prepared you for your hopefully future position?
Carolina?
Carolina, PPSA Poland. So as LS, I have been exposed to all of the things that EPSA requires from an association, and I have also been involved with my association, so I know what possible problems there might be within time management and with a lot of initiatives at once. I have also I've been in their shoes, so I know what it means to sometimes be overwhelmed, and I know how to try to explain to them the more documentation or regulation part of EPSA, and I would make sure that they have all the resources that they need. And as alumni coordinator, I had the pleasure to work with many alumni from many positions, from many mandates, and I was present during the meetings with them, and I saw the different perspective that they have, and also I've heard their experience and their advice for this mandate. So with all of that, I have learned and heard what has been done in EPSA and what worked and what didn't. and why. And I also have seen how many views there are within EPSA, which is also very good because seeing the view from alumni side, from the LSS side is very different, but they're both very much have to be taken into consideration. And I think mainly that has prepared me for this position.
Thank you. Now I have KNPSV with their second point.
Yep, Jason, KNPSV Netherlands. You mentioned in your form that you wanted to finish your last year of studies in a 6-month internship at a community pharmacy. How do you plan to combine the position with your other responsibilities?
Carolina.
Carolina, PPSA Poland. So in the faculty work, I only have one exam left, writing on and defending my thesis. And the 6-month internship is only 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. And it can also be flexible, so I can get a week off for congresses if that's needed. And I can also, I'm so sorry, I can also work during the weekends if I need a few days off. So it's very flexible, and I'm sure I'll find the time for everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I have APEF.
Luciana, APEF Portugal. How do you see the improvement of the buddy project? Do you consider it is important, since on your current position report, you mentioned that although you have created a chat, there was not any communication. So I just wanted to understand this. Thank you.
Carolina.
Carolina, PPSA Poland. So what I've learned from this year is that buddy project is very helpful, but seen from a very different perspective. There are LSs who have more experience than some of the team members, so they don't see a point of reaching out to them, and they only reach out to VPIA. But there are some LSs who really enjoy the project and who still want it. It's the same with the team. So at the beginning of the mandate, I would like to see how many people in general are interested in the project, to see if I can have both team members and LSs interested, and I can pair them with that more in the style of the mentoring project. So asking the team members how many people they would like to have as buddies, and then gather the LSs and try to find maybe similarities that they can share so they can start the communication. And I also would like the project to have maybe some activities that would help with the beginning. So for example, getting meetings to start the communication and not it being very official and over email. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I have KNPSV.
Kati, KNPSV Netherlands. Although your application contained many ideas and plans for the position, some of them, and actually many of them, were just mainly the tasks of the Vice President of Internal Affairs. I was actually wondering if you also had any novel ideas for the position and how to improve the position in upcoming mandates.
Carolina.
Carolina, PPSA Poland. So for sure, this mandate and the past mandate that we had, the position had been a little bit different due to the current state that we have. It's hard to think of novel ideas now, as there are limitations to what we can. I would like to establish more informal meetings with the LSs and members to build a communication closer to what we have during live events, to build a trust and safe environment for them to reach out to us more, and not having a gap of only working professionally, if I can say that more. But in general, the position in VPIA is management of people. And each year you have different people, different LSs, different team. And it is novel in a way because you have to make sure that you suit the work and activities for their personality the most. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I have VPSA.
Guilherme, BPSA United Kingdom. Could you tell me 3 areas that you need to improve on that may affect your work and affect the team?
Carolina?
Carolina, PPSA, my 3 areas or areas in EPSA? I'm sorry, I need a clarification.
VPSA?
Guilherme, BPSA United Kingdom. I'm just asking 3 areas in general that you think that you need to improve on, like communication and etc. and so on.
Carolina?
Carolina, PPSA Poland. So the first one for sure will be informal communication to build a more trustworthy environment within the team, and it being established at the beginning of the mandate so we can have people open. Second one would be a more teamwork view of the positions. We have seen some of people being very in their position and in their task rather than being team oriented. And I think that is something that we can work on, and I would like that. And the third one, allow me to think for a minute. The third one would be the communication on the updates. So there have been some comments about the lack of proper or time wisely updates for LSS team members, etc. It is something very tricky, and that there is a lot of in EPSA, and with the help of the executive, changing the internal structures and it being easier to follow would help us. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a technical. I need to mention that candidates present themselves as candidate position and candidate, not the country. Okay. Now I have Patrick.
Patrick, alumnus. I would like to continue on the question that Luciana already asked Carolina about the body project, but furthering on that. So in your application, you say that you want to investigate the body project and create activities to create a stronger bond. You also want to organize an LS day and have team LS and buddy activities. You already mentioned that you want to organize online meetings with the buddies. But could you elaborate a bit more on your plans? Could you give us some specific examples of activities that you're planning?
Carolina?
Carolina, VPA candidate. Yes, of course. As I stated before, I would like to first investigate how many people are interested in the project in general, because if we don't have interested people, the actions are counterproductive. But for example, the ideas that I had for buddy project initiatives to have is having small competitions that would be fun. Maybe some games who can first figure out the problem, or who can first read all of the reports, or maybe who can interest the most people from their country for a certain project and stuff like that. And also it can be less social media-esque, so it can be more internal. So for example, having the, I don't know, longest hangout, or having the cutest idea for a holiday party or something like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I have Apef.
Luciana Pef, Portugal. How do you think EPSA and LSs benefit from the LS and NIMP reports? And how do you feel it helps your work as VPIA? And how do you intend to use their feedback? Thank you.
Carolina?
Carolina, VPA candidate. So I will only talk about the LS's report, as we have dropped the position of NIMS. But the LS's reports are a real nice insight of the work of the associations that we see. Sometimes there are things that are done on national levels that we are not aware of. And when we read them, we can see what they're doing, and maybe we can connect their activities with ours. For example, maybe they have some public health campaigns that we can promote, or maybe they have some education webinars that we could also invite them for, or we can collaborate on making them in English so more people can take part in them. Also, by reading the reports, you can see what members are doing. And maybe if some other LSs would look for an idea for an event or initiative that other members are doing, I could connect both of them to see if they can collaborate and learn from each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I have Apef.
Luciana Pef, Portugal. As we have seen last Monday's applications for memberships are highly discussed on the GA, and sometimes it seems that there is a lag between the preparation. Do you have any strategies to handle and help possible applications? Thank you.
Carolina?
Carolina, VPIA candidate. For sure, it's a very tricky situation. It's not something easy, and preparing someone to apply for a member application, it's really hard. And making sure we give them enough time, enough effort, enough information and meeting is crucial, so they can feel that we are supporting them in all the actions that they have. So making sure that we are available for a meeting with them, making sure they have all the regulations that they need, making sure they understand the regulations is a key point. And also keeping in mind all the sides that we need to consider, and making sure that it is not a one person wanting to apply rather than an association. So meeting with the executive board and making sure it's not just one meeting, but rather a prolonged effort of everyone in the association. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolina. Now we have a 9.3 proposed by Shisi Sufedu, seconded by Afok. This will mean if this procedural motion is carried, it will mean that Carolina will have 1 more minute for a closing speech, and then we will move to internal discussions. I open the floor for the 9.3. I close the floor for the 9.3. I will now ask you to type in the chat for, against, or abstain the 9.3. We have 23 votes. $24 now, still missing 1. 25 votes for. Motion was carried. Carolina, you may now present your final speech.
Carolina, VPA candidate. Thank you for all your questions and comments. To conclude, everything that has been presented to you, EPSA members would always be my priority. I have a clear goal to assess their needs and objectives and present them with the best suitable opportunities. What I love about our members is the diversity. So a very personal approach is the key to success. I am an action-oriented person, and I am capable to create a feasible plan which would guide me through the mandate. I am certain that my management skills will help to deal with any crisis. I plan to create a safe yet fun environment for everyone to grow and develop themselves. I intend to always be there to help and motivate others. I remain available to anyone searching for any information about EPSA, and I would share its joy of spirit. I would share its spirit with joy. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Now I will close the recording. I will ask Federici to